What is good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's going on with the overall market, what you should be watching for as time progresses. I'm also going to talk about some very important levels in the markets, what's going on with SPX, why we're at some key resistance right now, and what's going on with the economic calendar alongside some more news. But before I break into all this information, before I get into any more details, let me just mention a couple of things. I am firstly not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. It not only benefits me, it benefits the entire community as a whole. So if my voice sounds very subtle, if I sound very quiet, guys, it's because I'm recording this at 5 o'clock in the morning before market open from where I am around the world. I do want to apologize about that. I know some people have said that it's a little hard to hear me in the mornings sometimes, but for now, I'm just going to do the best I can and then talk about something very important on the charts. So, as a reminder, right, SPX is approaching some key resistance amidst the big economic events coming out, and we have some big news. So, the first thing I want to remind everyone about is we have existing home sales at 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time coming out. Then we have the FOMC minutes coming out at 2 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right, so at 2 p.m., that's when we're going to see some volatility, most likely. The FOMC minutes will be very important for the market, looking at the Fed's policies and any changes in views from the different Fed officials. So this may cause some high volatility, so watch this very carefully at 2 p.m. And then after that, don't forget, after market close, we have Nvida's earnings. That's also going to be very impactful. So looking at the news right now, you can see that stocks are just continuing to just, move quite a bit. We've seen the market push and push and push very, very hard this month, but we're approaching some key resistance on SPX. I'll be talking about that in just a couple of minutes. There's some news coming out that Microsoft CEO Nadella is saying that he wants changes to OpenAI. So this is some big news. And once again, this is after they invested about $13 billion into OpenAI, which helped the share price quite a bit. But I just want to note that if there's any new changes, this could affect the views of shareholders. So we're going to be very patient and see what news comes out. Retailers' last word before Black Friday. So Black Friday is coming up in just a couple of days. We have some earnings coming out. We have Best Buy, Lowe's, Dick's Sporting Goods, and just a couple of others. We'll be watching that very carefully to see how they're doing. Many of them are coming out early on and also after market close. And on top of this, the biggest stock of them all for today is going to be Nvda. Nvda has its earnings after the market closes, so we'll be watching this very, very carefully. It is pushed to all-time highs, and we're going to be watching to see if this thing gets a rejection or not. We're going to be watching this very carefully because it's going to determine which way the market goes. And gas prices are on track to be the cheapest they've been on Thanksgiving since 2020. That's once again some good news according to the AAA. Let's hope that they continue to decline, despite the facts that OPEC could be cutting production next week again. Let's just hope that this benefits Americans, and we'll just see how it goes from here. Anyways, that's it for the news. Let's break down some charts. I'm going to start off with SPX. SPX has been on a roll. In case you don't know, SPX is what is helping to dictate the way in which that SPY is moving. SPY is just tracking SPX, and the S&P 500 is continuing to push. We're actually approaching this trend line of resistance if you connect the all-time high, I believe it was, with the latest high that we have, like right here. Right here, we're going to be watching to see if we get some kind of pullback first before we try to break this. We'll be watching. If we break this, then we're going to be heading to the next level, which is going to be very close to the 4600s if we break the white trend line. If we fail to do so, then we're going to be basically rejecting here, and we'll be watching to see if we break or continue to push. So it's going to be very important to watch that trend line. On SPY, I'm going to switch over to the hourly chart just to show you something very big. So on the hourly time frame, we're actually starting to dip a little bit. We're looking a little bearish this morning, but just to be safe, there's no guarantee that the rally is over quite yet. And what's going to determine that's going to be the FOMC minutes alongside Nvidia's earnings. So we technically have this like triple bearish divergence on the 4-hour time frame on SPY, a double on the RSI, suggesting that there's going to be some downside coming, but nothing's guaranteed until after Nvidia's earnings. So we'll be waiting for that very carefully. We're going to be watching to see if this rebounds a bit and just continues lower. If we lose 452 again, we could be making our way back down to the lower 450. So there could be a little pullback. Watch 452 as key support. For resistance, make sure you watch 454 and then 455. As of right now, we're pulling back a bit, so it is looking a bit weaker. There could be a slight pullback coming this morning. For the QQQ, we're going to be watching support at 389. If we lose that, watch 388, 387.09, and 386.25 or so. Resistance, watch 390 and 391. Right now, it might rebound, try to backtest like 390, then reject and make its way back down to 388. We're looking a bit bearish, so we might see a little pullback, or it's finally starting to turn a bit. Looking at Nvda stock, Nvda is holding up a lot better, at least thus far. It's still at 500, which is not bad. Nvda has this trend line right here, right? This white trend line I drew out quite a while back. This is acting as support right now. Nvda could attempt to bounce from here. We need to see it to try to get back above 504 to 505 to turn bullish. If we lose 500, we might just kind of like chomp around here for some time. One of the ranges I talked about was 490 to 500. That's going to be a range worth watching. But for now, watch 500, 498, and 495 as three supports. For resistance, watch this level right here, 504 to 505, and 508 above that. If we break down like this, the trend line will also become resistance. So we'll be watching, kind of shopping around between these ranges. We're going to be watching to see if this trend line holds and might actually break down, just chop a bit, which is completely normal before earnings, as we already pumped so much approaching it. So that being said, make sure you watch that very carefully. For Aapl, in my opinion, looking a little bit more bearish. We're starting to pull back a little bit. Now, this could be a flag that's forming, so I'm not as convinced on Aapl yet. But Aapl did have a lot of divergences developing on the chart, so we could call those out, at least for the time being. I would say that I'd be very careful with Aapl for now, but there is going to be some risk of downside for forming this flag, so we'll be watching to see if this trend line holds. We have this support right here, this white trend line. I'm going to change the color so I can color code these. This is going to be blue. This blue trend line is going to be acting as our support. If we lose this, then we could be forming a flag. But we'll see if this actually fails and we just continue sinking. Because I was talking about a retracement towards 185 yesterday. That is on the cards for Aapl. Last but not least, for Tesla. Tesla is very flat again, just like yesterday. Not really doing much. So we'll be watching to see if Tesla could attempt to push. If anything, Tesla's losing its strength. So I might have to redraw this trend line like this. We're going to be watching support at 235. If Tesla loses this, expect it to come down to 232, then 230, 231, then 230. And watch your levels very carefully. I also want to call out on Tesla. On the daily chart, we have two critical supports worth watching. First off, we have support. Well, just 231 and then 230 at the 200 EMA, then 227 below that. If we lose 230, that's going to be our 20 EMA. Those are some key supports. We'll be watching to see how Tesla reacts. It's looking a bit weak right now. It might pull back a bit more. Watch 235. If we lose that, we're going to be selling off more. For resistance, watch 236.5, 237.5, 238, and then 240. My gut tells me that it might test this trend line. We'll see if this breaks. If we break it, we turn bearish, and we could see a retracement towards 232 again. So watch the trend line and do what you have to do, guys. That is it for this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks again, and peace out.